Hello, Nakama, and welcome to the Church of One Piece. I am your pastor, the One Piece apologist, and today we will be looking at Chapter 8, Nami. It's a great chapter, introduction of an amazing character, and of course we pick up right where Chapter 7 left off, where, Luffy and Zoro are like, we're on our way to the Grand Line, but they have no idea how to get there, no idea even how to sail a ship, really, and so... Zoro's like, what do you mean you don't know how to navigate? That's kind of ridiculous. And Luffy's like, no, I mean, drifting's worked out pretty well so far, and he just thinks, like, he'll just drift to the Grand Line eventually, then that'll be good. It's crazy how Luffy, how Luffy thinks, how these things make sense to Luffy. But then, of course, we get our very first joke about Zoro getting lost. Which becomes an amazing recurring gag throughout the series. But Luffy's like, oh yeah, you went, or Zoro's like, oh yeah, I went out to sea to chase after a bounty, and then I couldn't find my way back. And Luffy's like, oh, so you got lost? And Zoro's like, you don't have to put it like that, But it's very clear Zoro does not have a good sense of direction. So of course Zoro is like, we're going to need a navigator, obviously. And then Luffy's like, yeah. But also we'll need a cook and a musician. And like, he just totally prioritizes food and music over everything else because, right, as we learned in the earlier chapter, that is what's important to Luffy about being a pirate. Is pirates always have a good time, and pirates are always free. And so in order to have a good time, you got to have food and music so you can have a party, right? So I think that's very clear in Luffy's priorities here, right? But I do then love how Zoro is just rowing as fast after Luffy gets carried off by the giant bird. Because, Luffy's kind of an idiot. But then Zoro's rowing as fast as he can to keep up, and the three buggy pirates need to be rescued, and so then he lets them, like, climb aboard, and then, of course, they immediately turn on him and try and take the boat, as pirates do, and then you just see this, like, look on his face, like, huh? Like, you said what to me? And then the very next panel is them all just beat up, and now they're rowing the boat. I love that. I loved how that's shown, and they're just like, oh, sorry, sir. Sorry, Mr. Rowan. Oh, sir, we didn't know who you were. Oh, But, of course, I love that how Nami tricked them. It was such a classic Nami move. She's such a tricksy hobbit, and she just she goes and convinces them that they should get on there, and then through her knowledge of the weather, she was able to know that they were about to capsize, which is hilarious. Basically though they're all like, oh, that evil woman, and Zoro is just basically like, oh wow, knowledge of the weather, She sounds great. She'd probably make a great navigator. Like, no sympathy for the buggy pirates whatsoever. I do want to just draw attention to the fact that the fountain in in Orangetown had a whale on it. Whales are very important to the story. They show up at very key points in the story. Usually when the One Piece is being talked about, basically. And so I'm thinking maybe, the map to the Grand Line or certain characters that are being introduced soon are very important to this story. And, of course, Nami has a map to the Grand Line. That does interest Luffy. But otherwise, Nami then uses Luffy to get away when the pirates are chasing her, and she just is like, oh, get him, boss, and that convinces the pirates to now stop and fight Luffy instead while she gets away. But of course Luffy then actually beats them all up, like no problem, and she suddenly is like, oh, hey, Luffy, maybe you want to work together, I see what's in it for me now, and so she's all like, oh yeah, why don't we work together, and you're pretty tough, and all that. But of course, also just another demonstration. I mean, the hat is very special to Luffy. It is his treasure, and so he when the pirates like did damage to it, he was just like, "Don't touch the hat," right? And so yeah, we'll have to see where that goes, but and whether Nami is ever going to be in it for anybody but herself. For now, though, that will be our introduction to the character in Chapter 8, Nami. And as always, One Piece be with you.